Welcome back to video number 2. So to start, let's open our project. So I'm gonna search it. Okay, I think it's somewhere tutorial. Yes, it's here. So I provided you some scenes here. So the first scene and the second scene, these are for you just to train. So don't dispute them as your own creations. They aren't mine, they are for someone, and it authorized me to redistribute them. So okay, don't redistribute them as your own creation. And this is a sample, okay, just for interior lighting if you want to try with the V-Ray light. And this is our project, the villa number 1. Okay, I'm not just change it villa so we are sure it's for CG dots. Okay, number 1, and this is only for CG dots. Okay, and this is also, it's free of use. Okay, use it as your own, but don't say it's your own creation, please. Try to be cool with the creators. So it's one of my friends that made this villa for me just for the sake of tutorial. So be cool, because I owned before I do tutorial I had another image, another model for it, and for who the person for who I did the visualization want me to redistribute this model and do a tutorial with it. So okay, let's work with this one. Oops, or it's not valid. Please verify that the correct file was given. Okay, let's open it and maximize the view. So here it is. I have some cameras here. Okay, this is some points of view for the tutorial. I like pretty much this one, the camera number 2, 3, and the camera number 4. Yes, this one also is pretty good. So here it is. So I show you the situation. It's a really simple model. Okay, actually it's a real villa, it's under construction. Okay, and we have all this plane. Okay, let's delete it. And here normally we have a garden. Okay, and here it's a garden. Okay, and what we can see here is that we have some holes here. So I'll restore my plane for sure to be okay, and we'll work on it. So first of all, what I need to do is create my sunlight. So before we go to the sunlight, I create a preset, or just for you it's I'll give you this preset with the project file, the project folder. So load it from V-Ray. To load the preset, simple click on load preset and go search for it. Okay, I have it, it's here. Load, and its name is V-Ray render scene exterior sunlight V-Ray physical camera. Okay, and let's see what I've done. Okay, so in the V-Ray tab I'll start with the global switches. Okay, in the global switches, first with, sorry for this, frame buffer. I enabled the built-in frame buffer for V-Ray, so it's a whole new frame buffer that will have extra parameters instead of the V-Ray, or instead of the 3D Studio Max default frame buffer. Okay, and the global switches I just uncheck default lights and hidden lights. Okay, so we don't get some surprises. Okay, nice. Image sampler, didn't change anything. Actually, let's explain what's the image sampler. The image sampler is pretty easy to use and to understand. For an example, I show you some images here, and this one. Okay, in this one the image before, or sorry, I should this is what we have. It's aliasing, and the image sampler is sort of anti-aliasing. Okay, so if we disable anti-aliasing, we get something like this. It's a word edged. And how can we explain this with pixels? So we'll say this is the shape, or this cutted edge here is the shape of our object. And look at the pixel, they interact something like this. They don't follow exactly the shape. Okay, so when we use an image sampler with two subdivisions, for example, it will duplicate this one, so it follows, so it's duplicated, it fills, so we have a more smooth edges, and it will looks more like the original object or form. So this is pretty simple to understand. And in the environment, did it change anything? The color mapping, let's talk a bit about the color mapping. So here for the color mapping, I got you some examples here to explain what's color mapping. So color mapping permits to control the intensity, the dark shadows, the dark areas, the light areas, and also the gamma. So here we have light. So I'm going to show you the linear lighting here first. So it's here. So this is linear lighting. This is how would look our image when rendered with linear lighting. Okay, and this is exponential. So this is exponential. This is a little bit better than the linear lighting. It's like overburned. So here is the exponential, and this is HSV exponential, which is maybe one of the best to use. So in a real example, this is linear. Okay, this is linear, and this is and this is exponential, and this is HSV. And I think the HSV is the most realistic of the two, or maybe also the exponential. So what's new in V-Ray is that we have Reinhardt. And what is Reinhardt? It's a mix between linear multiply and exponential. So if you have like 1 you have half, and if you have half, you are 1 which is higher. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So I found a good burn value, so I think it's 002. Just you can plug it, and if you want more informations, so if you want more information, as I said, because I stopped computer, I have some problems with the family. No, not problems, just a little with the sister. So let's continue. Stop the video, not the computer. So as I said, the Reinhardt is a blend or a mix between exponential and linear multiply, which provide really I don't think awesome results. And if I put it to 1, here we have linear multiply, and if I put it beneath to like 002 or something, it will be exponential. And why I put it to 002? Because we have nice results with exponential, and also we got a little touch, as I say, a little touch of linear multiply. This is really exciting and really extremely nice for such rendering and for such image. And the trick with the color mapping is that we have colors that can be displayed in a picture or in the computer screen, and the color mapping enable us to remap these colors, so we get more detailed or more nicer colors and image. So this is the powerful color mapping. I also checked subpixel mapping and clump out, so it will not subpixel mapping, I don't really know how to explain it because a little bit tricky. So once this option is activated, it controls whether color mapping will be applied to the final image pixels or to the individual subpixel samples. In older versions of V-Ray, if you work with it before, this option was always assumed to be on. So however people don't really search why, and its default value now is off, as this produces more correct renderings, especially if you use the universal settings as approach, as I said, in direct elimination, etc. You know, and it's very useful image. So, and the clamp output is also, if this on, colors will be clamped after color mapping, so they will be, they in some case, if you want, they, in some situations this may be unreusable if you, for example, want to anti-alias some parts of the HDRI too. Okay, in this case, turn clamping off. I think it's better. So I hope you understand what this two means, and you're on. So the V-Ray camera here didn't change anything, and let's get back to the most important tab, which is the indirect illumination. So as a primary bounce, I use the radiance map, as I said, and the secondary bounce will be the light cache. For a radiance map, I put such a high setting, but this were for exterior renderings, for product rendering, sorry. So here just change it to very low and choose 20, which I think is really good. So, and for the light cache also I choose 124 because I think it's the most accurate with time rendering and the result. So change it to 100. Okay, nice. And here it is. So we don't need caustics. Settings, nice. System 64, and that's all. Okay, so I'm just save this preset, just not to forget. So on tutorial light preset. Okay, here you can have it and just load it, save. Okay, now here we go. If you do first test render here, okay, and see how would look our image. Oh yes, first I'm not change just the size for 64. Okay, so we have, and you can see that our image is overexposed and there is no lighting at all. So default lights are unchecked, and hidden lights also, so there is no lights. It's just using GI to illuminate the scene. So as I want to do it, what I want to do now is sort of, I'm not create these cameras. Okay, I'm not create this, so I'm gonna create here into the left view, I'm gonna create a camera which have the same, a very physical camera which have the same position, and draw it something like this. Okay, nice. Onto the top view now. Let's search for our camera. Where is it? It's a little bit, yes, here it is. So here is our camera, and I'm gonna move it something like this and pick up the target. Okay, it's here, and move it somewhere like this. Okay, it's just to have, I just forget to use very physical cameras because I do the render with Monterey, or the render was done with Monterey. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna draw another very physical camera, so we have the 4 views. Sorry for that, really sorry, I didn't notice. Okay, I'm gonna move it a little bit so it have the same. Okay, if you want to, you can duplicate. If you want to, you can duplicate this one here as a copy and pick the target. Okay, you'll find it here and move it a little bit higher. So just we have the same. And select this one and onto the top view and copy it for something like this. Okay, now what we need to do is just move one of our V-Ray physicals camera to somewhere, to somewhere there. Okay, this will be nice. Okay, now pick this one here. Oops, I'm really sorry I didn't made this one before, but doesn't matter, it won't take too long. Okay, I'm just moving some of the positions so we continue having all these points meeting at the same time, or at the same spot, just something like this, and move this one over here. Nice, good. Now we have 4 V-Ray physicals camera which have the same point of view. Okay, here it is. And now if we do a test render as we did with, you'll notice that will have a more darker image but a nicer rendering too. So why? And this because when you use a V-Ray physical camera, you have also enabled, if I select a V-Ray physical camera, you have also enabled the shutter speed and the film speed, ISO, or ISO, I don't know how to say it. So you'll notice that this automatically change your lighting or your intensity. So if I take this render from here with no cameras at all, and this is what we get, because this is the light, what the scene look like without the shutter speed. When we use a very physical camera, as I said, it will automatically enable the shutter speed and the film speed, which provide a more control of the camera. So now I have two sort. So here it is saved. Okay, and I'm gonna save a copy as, and I'm gonna create a new folder which name it progress. Okay, and do a plus. Okay, now I have two ways of lighting my scenes or exterior scenes, and these are using a daylight system combined with V-Ray lighting and sky map. Okay, and the second one is to link a V-Ray sun with a V-Ray daylight system, and the two are pretty good, but I like the number 2, which is I prefer. I don't say this is better than the other, but I just prefer using the number 2. So I'm gonna create the daylight. I'm create the 2. I'll show you too how the 2 works. I'm gonna create the daylight system. Okay, as I always say, position means nothing. Okay, and now switch to a V-Ray physical camera. Okay, and here, so into the modify panel, let's go back, select here the daylight system, and choose set up. Okay, and choose here get location, and I'm gonna choose a location. Let's choose Africa's yes, Algiers, which is a very good country. my country, I can say. So, and if we do a test render with the V-Ray physical camera, you'll notice that the result will be really nice and good, smooth at all, and very interesting here. And we aren't using the system I mentioned. This is just the default light system. Okay, so I'm gonna choose the hours. I'm gonna say 2 p.m. Okay, so like 30. We have a nice lightning. Month, let's say we are March. Yes, March. Day is 31 March. We are so 3, and we are the 31 2010. Nice, good. So now back to the daylight system here, and in the sunlight, let's choose a V-Ray sun. Okay, and it will get so here, if you choose V-Ray sun, it will apply yes. Would you like, there already is map in the environment slot, would you like to replace it? Yes, and it will switch it to a V-Ray physics or a V-Ray sun. Okay, and you'll have, if you render, you'll have a really interesting and rendering also with these shadows, which I really like. Okay, you can see that this technique is really useful or pretty good for such rendering, serial rendering. So I save this one, save as, and click on the plus sign. Okay, and I'm gonna delete this light at all. Okay, and do the same, create daylight systems. Okay, and I'm gonna create my daylight onto the top view. Oops, perspective top, and go to the top view and create my daylight system. Okay, and this is makes the renderings looks more realistic when using V-Ray, and we'll don't need to just press 8 and clear this sky map. Okay, and what I'm gonna do now is a little trick. Okay, I'm gonna go to the selection mode and select the daylight system. Okay, invert the selection and hide everything. Okay, hide selection. Okay, here we are. You should have here the spot. Where is it? So just uncheck this. Just okay, hide selection. I don't want it to be hidden. Yes. Okay, hide selection. Nice, really good. Now what we have to do now is to create a V-Ray sun. V-Ray sun, and in this in this point of view, it doesn't matter where. So would you like to automatically add a V-Ray sky environment map? Yes, this is what we want to. Now select this sun. Oh, what I've done. Oh, sorry. Sorry guys, just something really stupid. So again, I'm making the same mistake. Sorry. So draw a sun. Okay, and here we have, this is the emitter, and what I want to do is to link these two. So I select my sun, my emitter. Okay, select it, then I go to animation, constraints, position constraint, and I link this one to the daylight. Okay, back, I'm gonna select this little dot here and do animation constraint, position constraint. Okay, and link it to the little dot there, and right click and hide all, and here it is. So now so I'm come here to the modify panel and deactivate these two. Okay, set up and choose hours, etc., as we did. So pause the video, got lunch, and brushed my teeth and came back. So after that, let's continue. As we said, we have linked the position of the V-Ray sun to a daylight system, so we can have nice and realistic shadows. Okay, lightning. So here is our sun. It's pointing from the left. Okay, and if we change the position, the V-Ray sun will also follow it. So everything is based on, if we do like night system, you'll see that we'll get something dark. And as we followed in the first tutorial or in the first video, to lighten up dark scenes or with the camera, we can use the shutter speed. Yes, this is it. Now I want to use dark light. So here it's like 11 in the morning. choose March 31. Okay, so let's get a location. Let's try LA and see how it works. And you can see the result is really nice. Yes, it needs to be a little bit improved. We need some more lighting or more luminosity or higher luminosity. I think the model is not so. The lightning is coming from here or something like this. Okay, we have these areas which are illuminated, so it doesn't matter. So okay, light. And if we switch back to another V-Ray camera, this number 3, this number 2, let's see the number 2 here. Oops. V-Ray physical camera 2, and this is the entrance. Okay, I think it's the entrance, and here we can see how the lighting work. And it's pretty cool. Yes, you can see here we can have a garage or something like this. Pretty nice and cool villa. Like it very much. Yes, this is it. So now let's tweak a little bit the shutter speed and everything else. So let's concentrate on the camera. I'm in the camera number 2. Where is it? Here it is, number 2. So what I like to do is always play with the gas vertical shift. So before, let's save. Okay, save as and click on the plus sign. Well, number 3 already exists. We want to know what's happening. Okay, number 3. Okay, and do save. Okay, now it's the gas vertical shift. It will adjust the lens of the camera so we have vertical edges, and I don't really like it. Sometimes it gives some things like this which are not really realistic. You can have something like this or dancing house, something like this. So I think a value of 002 would be nice, or 02 too much, 01 would be fine. Okay, render again. Now let's play with the shutter speed and the film ISO. Okay, now, or maybe also choose this to 35 millimeters, and here we go. So I'm gonna choose daylight system. Okay, and for 200 is too much. Okay, I have to drop it a little bit, or no, yes, let's try 180 maybe. Yes, maybe just the sky, to check out the sky. What something like this. So here I'm gonna drag drop it instance. Okay, and this is the sky. Okay, now, so in perspective view, I'm just select the sun. Okay, I want to do some adjustments on the sun. Okay, back to very physical camera number 2, and let's just play with the sun a little bit. The intensity multiplier is way too high. 0, I just put it to 0, 1, and try to see what it gives us. Yes. We can start working with this, okay, and try to find a good mixture between the two, between this one and the shutter speed, or just increase them as you want. That like working this way, so, or just playing with as you want to, okay. Think a value 1.1 would be nice. Okay, and it's a little bit lighter. Okay, need to increase a little bit the film ISO and it would work perfectly. Okay, so very physical camera number 2 and choose like 150. Alright, okay, and here like 90. Okay, and just try. Yes, it begins to get shape. I think here is the best what we can do. Can adjust it a little bit. So I want also to have soft shadows, okay, and to get it into V-Ray you have just to size up your sun. So for example, if I take this one really low, like 20, okay, and render again, you have that it's completely black. So if you'll say as I said, you when we increase the size of the sun in V-Ray, it doesn't affect anything but only the shadows. So why I dropped down the ISO, just to show you that the size doesn't really have to be normal to render correct, or to have it's not like V-Ray lights. The size is not linked to the intensity, okay. This is what I want to do to say. So I dropped to the ISO to 30 and rendered with the size, and we get the same image, okay, and nothing's changed, only we have more blur than soft shadows, okay. If I get back to a normal value of, say, let's say here like 120, okay, yes, I think here we got something. Yes, I think it's pretty good. Needs to be lightened up a little bit, and you can see that we have here nice shadows, and but it's a little bit noisy. And to avoid this sort of problems, usually what I do is I increase the shadow via subdivisions. You can see that this is not even realistic. If I try to render over here, you'll never get sun with this size. It's normally physically impossible. And only if we were in 12 December 2012, okay, maybe, but here like 25 will be very nice, but we are gonna have too much shadow, too much. So here I render, you can see that we'll have really soft shadows, but also they won't look, we'll have some problems when rendering, because it will use higher settings to avoid this sort of noisy shadows. And generally what I do is I apply with the shadow subdivisions something to like 8, and we'll get, this is F10. So I'm just disable the frame buffer of V-Ray and render again, just to be quicker. you can see that the rendering times have really increased just by but you'll notice the shadows are less noisy and more accurate, yes, as you can see here. But we don't want such like this, but let's try to play with it and get a nice result. So plug it 3, and let's change the size to 5 only, because 5 is a nice value to get somewhat soft shadows and not harsh edges for shadows, and also we don't notice the noise on the shadows. So okay, and if we saw, and you can see that we have a more, and this could be solved also by using a higher image sampler, okay, higher settings. So here it is. So I think we just need a little more lightning, okay. So it will increase a little bit the multiplier of the sun, okay. They want like a bluish, and here it is. We are near to the result we are searching for. I think that should be okay for exterior lighting. Just to be sure, you can use here, you can use just some references. So here you can search for exterior scenes, okay, just to have some ideas. As you can see here, for exterior lighting, here I found a good reference image. For exterior lighting we have, you know, this kind of superior, and this because if you look closely, you can see that the sky is playing a really big role in this illusion of exterior light or exterior scene. So to get such a nice result, we also need to have a good sky map. So for the purpose of this tutorial, you're gonna have I'm gonna have to show you a pretty simple technique for creating 360 sky maps, and it's pretty easy. So I have a lot of sky maps that I created with a plugin named Dreamscape. So if you want to some tutorials I show you how, just here I'm gonna use texture already made, okay. So the multiplier is okay, need just to increase a little bit the camera number 2 and put it to something like this, really, because we are getting some 100, and try to play with this value, okay, and render again. We have to get such a really lighten up scene, okay. This is what I'm talking about, yes, this is what I'm talking about, yes, really good. Just too much. Here we have, you can see with the frame buffers it don't show this, okay. If we reactivate the frame buffer here, okay, and just change it a little bit to 110 for example, and just render here, you can see after the rendering is done a little bit, yes, here we are closely to, like, we are 0.8, okay, we are closely to 1, okay, and this is the amount of white. So for an example, if I changed, I've applied here a default material to all these objects here. So if I apply, so select all, doesn't matter, so the object doesn't really matter, and apply this take a very material and apply it, okay, and choose a very light color, something like this, and re-render again, we would have a nice image. And it's a little bit, and it's brighter as we want it to. But here, if we see, we are really close to 1. This means that we have a good amount of lightning. So here you can see in the color float, we are at 0509, you can see, and this means that we are closely to 1, and this means also that we have a nice and good lighting. So we don't have overburned areas, etc. So nice settings here, and let's save it. Okay, and save. I'm gonna rapidly go through the process of creating a 360 sky map. I really like playing with skies, etc. So in Photoshop, saturation, vibrance, etc. to create a good sky map for exterior day lighting. So let's switch to Photoshop. So back to Photoshop, let's work with our sky map. So go to File, Open, and let's open up our images. So they are a little bit here. So tutorial, okay, textures, and here we have two. This one I created with Dreamscape. Okay, it's pretty simple, and but really nice, I think. Gives some realistic. And this one I found on the internet. It's a good site providing these such textures. I show you what's on it. Yes, CG Textures, really nice site. You can check it. They have a lot of cool textures, and here we have Skies 36 and 36. Okay, just the problem is that you have to be registered, but they provide textures from up to 50,000 pixels wide. Member are also able to view 3D preview for each sky, so you have to be a member, but really doesn't matter. You have really nice textures. So Blue Clear or series, I like this series, so you can check on textures. They will be really nice for you, and you can use it. They are totally free. And so back to Photoshop, let's work a little bit. So I want to have a really good saturation of the image, a good color, blue color. So I have to bring it up. So I'm gonna use the curve. So I want to add a little contrast. Okay, a little bit, but just a little bit. So we have a bigger source of illumination, but we won't see it, and we have to delete it before using this, because we don't want to have the artifact. For example, if you're animating the scene, we don't want to see a sun at the left and a sun on the right, or a sun in the left and shadows are on the opposite side. So we don't want such problems. So I'm gonna use the Hurling brush tool here, and just and just pick some here, and just pick pick some here, and try to cover up this with this technique. So if you have another technique, you can use it too, but you can also, if you want to, paint some of the clouds here, and it will blend it for you. Okay, here it won't work well. And what we can do also is get a little bit higher and smooth a little bit our shadows, our brush. Okay, I'm gonna pick a little color here which is near, just to work with, and I've tried to get the best result as possible. Okay, it's a little bit blurry, so, and just something like this would be very cool. Now let's back to the curves. I'm gonna choose the blue channel and move a little bit. Okay, and what I want to do also is create sort of a horizontal line, or not a horizontal line, a sky dot line, I think would be better. So I'm gonna choose find a good, something like this. Okay, just see, no, this is better, I think, something like this, and blur it. I don't know, so blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, blur it a little bit, something like this, a little higher. Okay, nice. And okay, and just bring down a little bit the opacity, so it's nice, smooth at all. Okay, now we need to use a little new feature in CS4, which is the vibrance, or the saturation on CS3, etc. So control U to open it, and use the vibrance to bring in some colors. Okay, so saturation here. Okay, just click on your image, sorry, so image, adjustment, vibrance, and just slightly. Okay, something like this. Nice. And we'll have a nice sky map. Save it. So I'm gonna save it for you and name it here without Photoshop. Okay, so you'll know this is a modified version if you want to use the original one. Okay, and I'm gonna don't save it. If you want also you can use the second one. So back to 3D Studio Max. I'm not draw cylinder, okay, rapidly, and then you can move it to the day number 2, which will be the materials. Okay, so just a little higher high cylinder that covers all, and don't want not low side, so 24 will be okay. So here we don't need even more, and convert to editable poly. Okay, so this is the cylinder once it's finished. Okay, now what we need to do is convert it to an editable poly. Okay, convert it. Nice. Now select the top view, the top and the bottom of the cylinder. Okay, I'll select them and press delete. Okay, now we have cylinder, but what the normals are quite, they are just okay. Okay, we can see it from the interior, which is really good. Okay, nice. And now what we need to do is we're gonna be sure by using a normal modifier so we don't get surprises. Okay, so I'm gonna use a normal and flip normals. Okay, so we are sure we don't have problems. Okay, here it is. This is pretty good. And now press M and go create a slot, vary material here. Okay, and press this little box here and click choose bitmap, and you can choose either this one or this one, but I really advise you using the saturated one because this one will look very flat. So I'll use this one, just create in Photoshop, and I advise you to bring the blur value to like 0.1, so we have the sharp details, etc. So if we take a look at the image, you can see it's really good. And now I think we're ready. So apply it to the cylinder and click on show standard map in viewport. That's very good. And now what we need to do is we're gonna see this little problems here. If I render, it's not quite a problem. It can be cool if it's well adjusted, but you know, we can gonna see this little panorama. I don't know how to say it, but how to describe it, but I would just drop it down. Okay, and this because the cylinder generates UVW informations or data that we don't need to add, but let's sure and add cylindrical and click fit. Okay, and also when creating your cylinder, be sure that the cameras are inside the cylinder. Okay, so we don't have some problems. That's one of the major idea to keep working, and also it provides nice reflections for windows, etc. So let's do it. And now I'm gonna rotate my cylinder until I found a nice view for my shadows. Okay, I think for my clouds, etc., or my image. So I think I'm gonna choose this one here and click render and just see how it works. Okay, you'll notice some problems that we're gonna adjust right now, just to be sure that these areas are not overburned. Okay, they're just gold. If you take a look, a more precise look here, you can see that we have some casting shadows, and this is not realistic at all because sky don't cast shadows, and this is the problem is from our cylinder. So what we need to do is select our V-Ray Sun, okay, and go to the modifier tab and click on exclude. So I'm gonna search for my cylinder. Okay, once it's selected, I'm gonna click on this little checkbox or the box here, and it will be exclude it from both illumination and shadow casting, or just shadow casting or illumination. I'm choose both. And then I'm gonna use simple technique to lighten up. I'll show you two techniques also. With shadow casting, I'm gonna just exclude it from this and do a render. Okay, from shadow casting you'll notice that we don't have anymore this shadow. Okay, we need also to see the calculation phase, so later on we can adjust. And here it is, no more shadows. Okay, I'm now copy it and drop it down. Okay, minimize it, and then I'm now exclude it from both. Okay, here it is. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use, if I render again, you'll see that the sky map is very dark and I don't like it at all. Why? Because it don't provide this lightning or this vibrance or saturation that we need. So we need to lighten up a little bit the sky, and I use a little technique that I call the 4 points. It's just a name, the 4 points, and it uses standard and target direct light. So here it is. I'm gonna draw a little direct light here. Okay, and then I'm now move in the hierarchy, or just choose here, or no, just let it in view and choose not center to object, and move your pivot point to, oh no, the pivot point, yes, I just want to move the pivot point to something like this. Okay, so and back, and so we can rotate our object, or just I'm making mistakes, so just move a little bit, something like this. Okay, now I'm not just duplicate it as a copy. Okay, I'm just making mistakes, don't I made an error, sorry. So here it is, and it's not at this time when we use, sorry, just create another light, go to create target direct, sorry, I'm really sorry. And also here also, and the 4 points, it's the 4 cardinal point, north, east, west, so etc. So, and in this light what we're gonna do is, in each light, so I forget also to make them instanced, but it doesn't matter, exclude, and we're gonna exclude all but the cylinder. Okay, choose cylinder. Okay, and oops, what happened, the cylinder which is here. Okay, mobile, and we're gonna exclude them from both. Okay, this is the first light, the second light, said same, and let's search for the cylinder, both. Okay, if they were instanced, just one modification will work on both, so cylinder, both. Okay, and finally this one, exclude all, and search for the cylinder, and okay, now try to make a render, and you'll see that the sky is, we have some problems here, some spots, and this because it's a direct light and it has some properties. So intensity, I'm not just choose a blue color. Okay, so we have the blue, bring it up. Okay, dark blue a little bit, something like this, and choose in directional parameter overshoot, so we don't see the cone. Okay, same thing, I'm gonna copy the color, copy, and really it's one light selected. Yes, I know what light selected, paste it, and you'll notice something that is really interesting is that paste, and then in the overshoot, and here overshoot, and also here overshoot. Okay, and do a test render here. Here you can see that we have a nice background, okay, and you have this little blue sort of thing here in the villa, which is really good and provides nice. Okay, let's compare the two, and you can see that this one is way better than this one. Here we have this blue, and here is very flat image, and here we have some more depth in the image. Also, what we can what you can do is open up your image here, okay, and just boost it something like this, okay, and try to save it and just see how it works. Somehow name it here 2 and choose JPEG, okay, and okay, so let's try here. I'm gonna create a new slot, okay, here V-Ray material, and just pick a bitmap and try it. I think we are coming to an end, and to the end of this part of the tutorial, and apply it to the cylinder. Oops. So where is cylinder is selected, and apply it. You'll notice, okay, sorry, and show. And if we render again, so let's just see the last frame here, and duplicate it, okay, and render again. You'll see that we have a more depth image, okay, and I think I'm gonna take this one. Really cool. So all depends on your type of image, okay, so you have to choose it the best as possible. So here you can see that here we have more depth, etc., etc. is going on, and you see that the lighting is affected also. So I think that's good enough. Maybe I'll render this in HD so we can see how it's going. So HD TV 120 by 1080. So, and let's render, and you can see for HD it's really quick. Also, this technique is very useful when you use animations, when you animate around 360, about when your camera flies around an object, and here you have 360 cylinder, which will provide nice images and nice reflection also. So this is really cool and really nice technique I usually use for my rendering. Also, if you think your image or your animation gonna look further than 180 degrees, then you have to create a hemisphere. I just give you the idea. So just you have to create the hemisphere, and then when finished, you have to apply a sky map or just a HDRI to it, and then you have it. And try just to blend the two, and it will work nicely, okay. So the problem is my English now. Just hope you will understand what I say, and you'll follow all along the tutorial, okay. So here it is at the end, okay, and it's really good. The render is decent. You can notice some problems here, and this from the irradiance map. Here also I have some problems to here also we can adjust this, okay. I think that's all. So I'm gonna save the image for you, and also here I'm gonna save it for you, and then progress and data. So progress and dynamic render one light and camera. So okay, here it is, and in JPEG. I hope you enjoyed this part of the tutorial. The next one will be concerning the materials, how we can apply the maps and multi-sub-object material, how do we play with the settings, and how do we create all the materials. I'll also point to some sites that provide free materials, so that you are free to use. But I advise you that you pick the material and see how it's made, so you can get an idea. So we'll have a theoretical part which will be very short, 10 minutes about, so which will be in theoretical, how do we play with the materials in V-Ray. And next we're gonna apply our materials, which will be very simple. So we have here some, I think, some concrete and cement, so, and a lot of some of windows, reflective windows, and creating the grass with a plugin. I'm gonna show you what is it and where you can download it. And here we have some wood. I think wood would be very nice for this such thing. And this is all. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. See you the next day.